Hi, I'm Owen from the English Folk Dance and Song Society, and I'm here with Lisa Knapp, who is performing as part of our Borderlands Ballad night on Friday the 27th of February. So Lisa, what's the premise of this ballad night?
I think the idea is to just basically explore balladry, traditional song in sort of English and Scottish tradition. Obviously there are two Scottish artists, Alasdair Roberts and Kris Drever, and two English artists, myself and Naomi Bedford.
How do you go about preparing for a night like this?
Well, it actually struck me how few ballads I sing. I sing a few, but I've really just done a lot of trawling on the internet and had my head buried in Child and Bronson and various ballads books and collections, and just trying to work out which ones I wanted to do, really. I suppose it's different for anyone. Alasdair does sing a lot of ballads. I think the thing with ballads is they're so they tend to be very sort of hefty pieces. You know, the stories often have to be very weighty and often very long. Lots of verses in many of them, and so it's quite a thing to learn a ballad, I think, and really be able to get into it. It's, yeah.
Are there any specific collections that you found particularly fruitful?
Well, I suppose just in terms of not being able to get to the library as much as I've liked over the last few weeks, just having those sort of not little, it's huge actually, the child ballad volumes. And so Child wasn't a collector. He was an academic who sort of took various collections, and so there are various collections within Child, mostly Scottish, because at that period the Scottish collectors were very active. But there's also the broadside ballads as well, which I haven't had enough time to check out. But so the child ballads do contain the texts, but there are no tunes, because at that time it wasn't felt that the tunes were worth anything. So the Bronson collections, obviously, he went around much later and collected tunes to what ballads he could find people singing. So there's that, and just trawling through recordings and stuff like that, really. There's a great Scottish website actually called Tubber and Duchess. You probably don't say it like that. Another way of saying it is Kiss the Riches, which is they've got a tremendous amount of audio files, songs, all sorts of Scottish things particularly, and so that's quite a mine for some fabulous, rich stuff. And of course the full English is also a great resource for finding things.
Have you all come together yet before you to rehearse?
No, unfortunately not. Obviously with the boys based up in Scotland, it's not so easy, but there are lots of emails flying around at the moment, and swapping of recordings and ideas of what could go where, and how we could present them, because obviously there's four of us, so there's room for us to do our own things, but it's nice to have that sort of collaborative aspect in the evening.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much going to be last minute in terms of rehearsing, but there's so much that you can do remotely, really.
How do you find collaborating as opposed opposed to doing your solo work? Do you find it more difficult, or is it just different?
It is different. I mean, I suppose all these things depend on how much time you've got to do it. I love working with people, and I love working on my own. So it's, there's different kinds of ways of working. I suppose you have to be more open when you're collaborating, I suppose, and whereas when you're on your own, you have to sort of make decisions and to move on.
Do you find you approach traditional music differently to your own material?
Yes and no, I think. I think you're kind of coming from a different place. Doing the trad thing is an interpretive thing. It's a text and mostly tune that is not your own. You haven't made it up, and I think it's like you're kind of trying to get into it to the point where it's almost like you have made it up. It is coming from you in that way, and I think it's possibly almost the opposite. Doing your own stuff, it is a different thing for me, but. In a way, you're sort of trying to get into your own stuff, and as if it was always there. There's that sort of feeling when you sing stuff.
Who would you cite as your biggest influences as a singer?
As a singer, I think it's a hard one, that, because there's so many people that I admire. I think first hearing Anne Briggs was a bit of a revelation to me. To hear somebody sing in that way, also Shirley Collins. I think often sort of being female singers that I've particularly have chimed with me.
Once this Ballad Night's out the way, what are your plans for the next few months?
Hopefully, if I can get round to it, recording another EP of May songs. I released one a couple of years ago now called Hunt the Hare. Yeah, I find it quite fun. I've got a few solo gigs in May to promote the new EP, and I just find that whole time of year a quite interesting phenomena in folk tradition. It's kind of when the year is coming alive, that feeling that we've actually reached a point in the year. I say that though, and every year it rains and such wood. So I've been having some fun with that. I did some solo gigs last year and enjoyed that. So yeah, that's the sort of springtime plan, and then looking to start working on another album, really.